I didn't do it backwards, did I?
Loosey-goosey chime time. I don't know. I've given up on which way it goes.
We're trying. We are on location, right? I had it backwards, didn't I? Hang on. I'm OCD, so I have to finish this.
You're the last person I know that's OCD. Who the hell are you trying to bullshit?
I know.
All right, welcome to our loosey-goosey show, our Air Radio World News show and trivia show, because that's really what it's all about.
Oh, we have fun with the rock and roll.
Yes, Leah's trivia is our dynamite trivia. Big Daddy Russ Horton, I'm Lee Lakin with Leah Lywood, of course. And today we're actually on location in Acton, Ontario, not far from Lee's Garage, where we normally were doing these, at a place called Concept Leather. You can check them out online at conceptleather.ca, or you can find them on Facebook. And she'll take orders from all over the world, man. She doesn't care. Bring it on. Very creative, custom Canadian leather designs and quality, leather work and
a giant Harley in the window, man.
Big, huge Harley in the window.
It's soon going to have a skeleton and
flames and
a skeleton in the leathers. We'll have to name this skeleton, and he's going to be sitting on the bike.
Sitting on the bike out window. So like I say, you can check them out, conceptleather.ca, or on Facebook as well, and see all the cool designs they have. So they have great stuff in here.
And we're brought to you this week by the community of Churchill, Manitoba.
And
I'll tell you, if you've ever been to Churchill on that bus, you are that far away from the polar bears. That far away. See, what happens in Churchill every year is, as at the end of the winter, all the ice floes come in, and the bears are just
sitting on them.
Just sitting on them, just waiting to come into land, and then they feed and they mate and everything else. And Churchill is
take a few
about
dogs
850
and cats.
People live in Churchill. It's basically people that fly in.
Yeah.
In the summer.
You only live there
because
you really want to live there.
They have a lodge there that's incredible that we've been promoting all week on Air Radio. And of course, this is the Air Radio Network. We have FM 108.ca, which is Canada's oldies station. This weekend, it's the Every Little Thing-a-thon. Every Little Thing is our Beatles show, and we're running John Lennon all day on Sunday because it's his birthday.
That's right.
And it's the first annual Every Little Thing-a-thon, and we have Radio GTA, our freeform rock station as well. And we play all, and we of course support Canadian tourism. Let's look at the news quickly. What's going on?
Get that out of the way. We want to get to trivia.
Yeah, well, we don't.
Stupid news.
Yeah, we do the news just to let you know what's going on and then carry on.
And we do it as quickly as possible.
A sad week. An attacker with a large kitchen knife killed 2 people, wounded 6 others in stabbings along the Vegas Strip before he was arrested Thursday. And all the good news from the world, of course.
Our friends over in Russia.
The risk of a nuclear Armageddon. Ukraine reports rapid advances in bid to retake key regions at its highest level since 1962, is what Biden was saying, as we're close to Armageddon, which is, whatever. Okay. Well, you can't dwell on stuff like that or you'll be staying up all night.
Yeah, it's a war of the worlds all over again.
Just to wrap up, Putin vows to stabilize the annexed regions where they had the mock elections.
Right, yeah.
And the Ukrainians took them back this week. So the elections are done.
Yeah, pretty
much. What else is going on there?
Unfortunately, this is still going on in Hockey Canada. A lot of problems, a lot of sponsorships being pulled, major sponsorships being pulled from Hockey Canada.
Tim Hortons?
Tim Hortons, Canadian Tire, just to name a few.
Hockey Manitoba. Hockey
Canadian Tire's Jumpstart program has been a massive supporter of the Leafs, or Hockey Canada for that matter. So they're calling some emergency meetings as they see this massive sponsor pullout going on. So that's been going on. This one, a crazy story. A bear attack leaves 2 women critically injured in BC. There's been a lot of bear attacks in BC lately. Mounties say that there are more and more going on as the years progress. Also, Loretta Lynn, the coal miner's daughter,
that was
passing away. The country queen dies at the age, I believe it was 73. I think it was.
She was 90.
Or was it 90?
She was 90.
90?
Yeah. I didn't know she was that old either because
what'd she
die
was
of? Big, I think it was old age.
Old age.
She was
90.
Queen. That's what the Queen died of, old age. God bless her.
Pretty much. Yeah. It ran that span, and that's what your lifespan was
Loretta
supposed to be. Loretta, beautiful.
Loretta's an icon in country music.
God,
She's like Buddy Holly. She's in rock and roll, like Elvis, but her and Patsy Cline were good friends. And did you ever see Coal Miner's Daughter?
A long time ago,
great movie, And what a life she had, and the hardship she had when she was younger.
Well, back then. You know, look at even how Johnny Cash came up. Look how Dolly Parton, same thing. Back
Coat
then,
of many colors was all about the.
You lived on a farm. You lived on a farm. That's right. Like it was, you know. So unfortunately, yeah. And then North Korea fires ballistic missiles over Japan. What the hell's going on over there?
What the hell's going on in the world?
Jesus
Everybody
Christ.
gone nuts or what?
Get your finger off the button and shove it up your arse.
That's right. Absolutely crazy. An Ontario woman was sexually assaulted by Jacob Hoggard and suing him. And that guy's been through hell in the hand.
He's going to be doing a bit of time.
He's going to be doing.
He's got more. He's got another chick. He's got another case coming up with another woman.
And the sad thing is, they weren't a bad band.
They were pretty good.
They were a pretty good Canadian band.
He was a Canadian Idol winner.
And of course, Leah, he's won the Quebec election. We all knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, no big surprise.
Indonesia, 125 dead in a football stadium crush.
170 something now.
Can you imagine? Like Cincinnati was horrific. That was 11 people back in the 70s with the Who concert, Riverfront, I think it was. But this is, you're talking 178 people. That's unbelievable. Yeah. Crushed to death. And of course, Hurricane Ian well, I know they had it bad on the East Coast here, but Florida had it just.
It went across the whole state and then ran up the other 2 states, for crying out loud.
My buddy who works in radio in Myrtle Beach has been doing the play-by-play on it, and there was a few scary moments for him. I mean, he's right there in the Carolinas, right? And nasty weather.
Well, they're saying over 100 dead, so it's the largest death from a hurricane that they've had in the U.S. So.
And of course, this last week we had our Truth and Reconciliation Day, which is very important in the Canadian calendar now, and it was a day for all of us to think and start to heal and listen to other people's stories.
And as we are doing this video, this is our Canadian Thanksgiving weekend, and wishing everybody a awesome Thanksgiving weekend.
I swear to God, I thought turkeys could fly.
Oh, the humanity!
Sports, 4-game schedule, the wild card. Of course, we've got the Rays taking on the Guardians, the Phillies, and St. Louis, and we've got the Padres and the Mets, of course. But most importantly, we have the Jays.
That's right.
And the Mariners, which is right now, as a matter of fact.
They started just as we were getting rolling here.
And it's nice to see the Jays back in playoff action again, and it's so much fun this time of year. You know, it's my birthday, it's Thanksgiving, baseball playoffs, just awesome stuff.
Got your weed stolen.
Got my weed stolen. Yeah, it's just another milestone in my week of hell. But it's been a bad week.
Well, I just figured if you talked about it, you might feel better then. You know, just might make you feel
not really.
No? Okay.
Not really.
No, we tried.
Let's get into some fun stuff. Here comes
Get into
Leah's
what we love
trivia.
to do. We love Leah's trivia, and she does these each day on our Facebook pages, but we love to bring them at the end of the week because there's some really cool tidbits in here.
She spends so many hours digging up all this info.
God, yeah.
But even radio people and music people didn't even know some of that stuff.
Oh, I agree. Excuse me.
Are you going to look at the Stones?
Rolling Stones' 1967 album Satanic Majesties was the first album to feature a 3D picture on the sleeve, costing the band over £10,000 to manufacture. And back then,
that's a hell of a lot of money.
That's a lot of money back in '67. You know, that'd probably be about 10 mil today.
Going back to 1927, very historic day, the first talking picture released, The Jazz Singer, and music starring Al Jolson, of course. Jolson. And he was the guy that used to have the blackface, right? Yeah. Just like Trudeau. Irving Berlin's Blue Skies, one of the first songs heard by talkie audiences. And Johnny Mathis released his very first of many holiday albums, Merry Christmas.
Johnny Mathis.
And he's a cool guy. The Balladeer's smooth renderings of traditional Christmas tunes became a staple of the seasons for years to come. And I know that through living through all the years of radio and all the Christmases. Pull out the Johnny Mathis album, man, and stick it on there. And there's Johnny.
Oh yeah, he had that. He just had that smooth voice, man. It was incredible. 2004 cohort of ours, I guess, in a way, on his radio show, Howard Stern announces his move to satellite radio, where he'll broadcast on Sirius, which gets a huge bump in subscribers. The move to satellite frees Stern from the shackles of the FCC, which doesn't regulate satellite like it doesn't regulate us. Yeah. Thank God. He and his crew are free to swear like sailors and talk dirty, which they often do, and it also means fewer commercials. So
we're allowed to swear, but we don't. We do occasionally, but I don't do it
for the shock factor anyway.
Watch, I mean, if I feel like swearing about something, I'll swear. But you don't do it all the time.
Yeah.
Which they
even when you watch Stern now, you watch a show now, like he swears, but it's just casual. It's not.
Stern
but back when he was in his heyday, that was what he was known for. He was that shock jock, right?
I think Stern's better now than he was back then.
Oh God, yeah, way better.
He was way too much back then. Too much tits and ass and stuff. Come on, Howard. It's funny, a little bit, but get on to some other stuff. There's intelligent people listening to you out here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he did. And he matured.
And he's matured. The best radio show I ever heard in my entire life was the Howard Stern Show the morning of 9/11. He was 3 blocks away from it.
That's absolutely.
And just an incredible man when it comes to being put on the spot.
He's a true professional on it, that's for sure.
There's no doubt about it.
True professional.
King of all media. Well, that's what he calls himself anyway.
So the Stones in 2005.
Yeah, 2005. The Stones concert at the University of Virginia in the U.S. was halted 8 songs into the show at the Scott Stadium after police received a bomb threat targeting the stage area. And a 45-minute police sweep of the area found nothing unusual, and the band completed the show. The Stones were touring to promote their latest album, A Bigger Bang.
Isn't that ironic?
Yeah, I hadn't heard that one before.
No, me either.
Atlantic Records?
Yeah, Atlantic Record head
Amit
Ertegun meets with Jesse Jackson, who has a beef with the Rolling Stones' Some Girls, specifically the line in Some Girls, black girls just want to get fucked all night.
And you see what I mean? And that's what it is. And we're going to tell you what it's. Now, being on the regular radio, we wouldn't do that, but here we do.
Jackson is the head of Operation Push, People United to Save Humanity, which has been fighting against sex rock's lyrics and songs, urging record companies to take a strong ethical posture. He claims the song degrades blacks and women's and threatens to boycott the Rolling Stones. And you know what? I don't care what you could have done. You couldn't have boycotted the Rolling Stones.
No. How can you even do that now?
You wouldn't have a freaking chance. So
they're the size of a country with all those fans. Are you kidding?
And what's wrong with somebody who wants to fuck all night?
Yeah, really.
Hey, it'd kill me now, but I'd look for it in the day.
Things were different back then. Like if Elvis, the things Elvis had to put with, he couldn't gyrate or
certain shows and this and that.
And Hank Williams pulled him and said didn't want to work with him because he was a pervert.
And there's Jim Morrison who would agree and get on stage and just do it anyway.
Well, that's the next story. During 1969, Jim Morrison of the Doors was charged with lewd and lascivious behavior after showing his penis to the audience. The Miami Auditorium, where Jim Morrison of the Doors allegedly exposed himself, the Dinner Key Auditorium in Coconut Grove, Miami, Florida, was the site of the Doors' infamous March 1st, 1969 concert where Jim may or may not have exposed himself. The historical building is still standing and is known as the Coconut Grove Exhibition Center. As the story goes, Jim missed his scheduled flight into Miami and spent the time waiting for the next flight drinking in the airport lounge. Once he boarded the plane, he continued drinking. During a stopover in New Orleans, he missed his flight again and consumed more drinks, waiting for the next flight. Jim? By the time he'd reached Miami, he was extremely drunk. And once he took to the stage, he was almost falling down, and he was abusive towards the audience, too. And he started a song only to stop it after a few lines, and he would even burn even more drinks from the members of the audience. He was asking for, can you get me a drink?
I'll take that Ryan Coke, thank you very much.
Ryan Coke.
There's actually video footage of that second concert. And you can watch it, and it's pretty fucking wild to watch. It's there's pardon
photos. Me. I attached a photo of him literally just starting
to... 65, Johnny Cash was arrested crossing the Mexican border into El Paso, Texas, after customs officials found hundreds of pills in his guitar case. He received a suspended jail sentence and a $1,000 fine. So
I wonder what the pills were.
Yeah.
Well, there must have been something, or Johnny wouldn't have been charged with anything.
And back then, they didn't have a lot of pain pills and stuff back then. You know what I mean?
That many?
And that many, yeah. Like it just
1,000?
Why would he? No, never mind. Here's a tidbit. Have you ever wondered how the Beatles got their haircuts? Here's the story. John Lennon and Paul McCartney both had their first Beatle haircut during a trip to Paris in 1961. The pair hooked up with old friend Jürgen Vollmer, who they knew from Germany, of course, when they were a band in Hamburg, right? And he wore his hair brushed forward. And Vollmer had copies of the style of the actor Jean Marais in the 1959 Jean Cousteau movie Le Testament d'Orphée. So now you know. And a little bit more history and trivia. Edward Levereau patents the automatic player piano.
You could sit there like this and play a whole song for you. The saloon guys must have made a fortune off of it.
Abbey Road.
Yeah, 69, the Beatles' Abbey Road album went #1 in the UK chart. The final studio recordings from the group supposedly contained clues adding to the Paul is dead phenomenon. Paul is barefoot, and the car number plate LMW281F supposedly refers to the fact that McCartney would be 28 years old if he was still alive. LMW is said to stand for Linda McCartney Weeps. And
so many hidden things.
I know. The 4 Beatles represent the priest, John dressed in white, the Undertaker, Ringo in black, the corpse, Paul in a suit but barefoot, and the gravedigger, George in jeans and a denim work shirt.
And we all know it's a lot of bullshit. We all know that McCartney's alive, but what a great promotion idea by the Beatles.
And just the conspiracy theorists back then, because they were just as crazy as they are now, must have just had a heyday with it.
So. I had an air check of a guy on WABC in New York when this was all going on, and he got fired because he locked himself in the control room and was talking about it all night long. This is on a 50,000 watt top 40 radio station.
Right.
And so it really took the radio industry by storm with specials and is McCartney really dead, and playing songs backwards. But you know what? Lennon was a smart man. This is all promotion.
Well, it was him and George Martin, I'm sure, had a lot to do with that.
Oh, they all did.
Yeah, they all did.
But I think John was the one behind it because he was the mystical one of the Beatles, in my opinion.
Well, he was the one on Pen Iote and smoking weed and.
The reporters that were driving McCartney nuts, and he wasn't answering the phone, and they continually kept trying to get a hold of him to see, are you actually alive or dead? And finally he picked up the phone and was just like, okay, I'm alive. Yeah. Are you happy?
Yeah. Are you sure this is Paul? Tammy Wynette, my friend.
I can't believe this one. Tammy Wynette claimed that on this day in 1978, this week, she was kidnapped from a Nashville shopping mall, abducted, beaten, and held in the car for 2 hours by a kidnapper wearing a ski mask. He held a gun on her and forced her to drive 90 miles from Nashville, Tennessee. This is Tammy Wynette we're talking about. She was later released and the kidnapper escaped. Wynette struggled with an addiction to prescription painkillers, which contributed to her death in 1998, of course, very sadly. Her daughter, though, actually claimed that she made up the story about the kidnapping, possibly to explain bruises inflicted by her husband. Stand by your man, Tammy.
Yeah.
You know, the stuff but you know what? She was a sweet lady, Tammy Wynette. And
again, another one in that category with Loretta. The caliber of music and style and.
Well, yeah, I would put Tammy right up there with the rest of them. She was phenomenal. And that song "Stand by Your Man," man, that was all over the radio in the '60s.
God, yeah.
You couldn't turn the radio on without hearing
and
that.
It's been covered by tons of people as well. So.
All right,
another 27 Club member, and we kind of celebrate, I guess, her birthday, Janice, or her death, sorry. Janice found dead at Landmark Hotel in Los Angeles after a heroin overdose, and again, just 27 years old. Janice's road manager, John Cook, went looking for her when she didn't turn up for a recording session. When there was no answer at the door, he got the key from the front desk and found Janice dead in her room. So that 27 Club's just too freaking big.
Hendrix. Did Hendrix die around this time of year too? We talked about it last week.
Yeah, it was last week.
Summer.
It was just recently,
July, August? July, I want to say.
She'd battled heroin addiction, as many knew, and seemed to have it beat. And while recording the Pearl album, she started taking again in small doses to get her through the sessions. So people think it's easy to go into a studio and record and do that stuff. No, it is not, especially when you were talking that caliber style of music.
Janice's voice was just
and the emotion she sang with, it just physically would drain you. It would just drain you. You know, you can't sing and put that kind of emotion out there and fake it. So it does. It takes a drain on your body that just literally kicks the shit out of you.
This week, I believe it was 1990, this happened. Sinead O'Connor, famous for her hit song Nothing Compares to You, goes off script during their Saturday Night Live appearance, declaring fight the real enemy and tearing up a picture of the Pope. I remember that.
Yeah.
Now, I've seen a video of Sinead O'Connor over the recent years. She's suffered badly from anxiety and depression.
Oh God, yeah.
And it was really kind of a tearjerker interview that she was giving, and looking at the problems. And she's such a sweet lady, you can tell. Just want to give her a hug and tell her everything's going to be okay.
She did that way back when, and now look at all this bullshit we've got going on with the Catholic Church right now. Look at the residential schools. Look at all the sexual abuse cases that are cropping up, and not just here in Canada, worldwide.
Well,
this is happening.
From Ireland, right? Same thing.
This is happening in every country. It is happening, and it's something we really need to take a look at as human beings. Flipping right over to the dark side, Ozzy Osbourne, the Prince of Darkness, refuses to watch any episodes of the MTV show The Osbournes, claiming he was stoned during the entire filming.
He wasn't, was he?
Oh, I would be.
Was he? The funniest thing I ever saw Ozzy do, and I still laugh every time I see it, because I look for it on YouTube, is where he's sitting in his car and the car talks to him and it won't shut up.
Oh, really?
Fuck off! Fuck off! Shannon, will you tell this thing to Tom? Stop telling me to fuck off! Fuck off!
I gotta look that up.
Oh, it's just Ozzy is such a funny guy.
Well, there was a show he did with his son where they would go on these trips, and they'd go to like this, they went to this army bunker, and then they went fishing here and there, and he's muttering around beside Jack, and oh my God, it was so funny. It was such a good show.
Ozzy is one of the greatest party animals of all time. And,
oh gosh.
When he met the Queen, of course, never mind. Yeah. I'm not getting into that.
Let's go to 1952.
The radio hit The Adventures of Ozzy and Harriet, now featuring the couple's 12-year-old son, Ricky Nelson. And that actually debuts on CBS, where it was ran for another 14 years. That's this week in 1952. And in 1955, the Mickey Mouse Club, featuring the breakfast star, 12-year-old Annette Funicello, debuts on ABC. And everybody that grew up in the 50s knows all about Annette Funicello.
Oh God, yeah.
And the Mickey Mouse Club, and there was
pretty
Cubby.
much the first pinup girl.
I used to be able to name them all. I can't even remember one now. It's Cubby, and there was.
There was so many.
And
never watched
it. No, of course. Well, you're 1955. He wouldn't be around. Yeah.
Hey?
He's never. Which was the one you've never seen? No. You've never seen something that.
Star Wars.
Star Wars, yeah.
Star Trek.
Star Trek. You haven't seen any of them?
Oh, well, I used to watch those on my dad's lap religiously.
I know.
Seen one.
I know every Star Trek episode by script. Captain.
A lot of movies I haven't watched, man, and a lot of TV shows. I didn't grow up with television until I was probably around 12, 13 years old when we got a TV. So.
Here's a fun story about The Who, eh?
Yeah. 73, The Who forced to comply with union rules by recording a new track to 5:15 for their appearance on the Top of the Pops. Take out their frustrations at the end of the performance. Pete Townsend smashes the gear and gives the producer the two-finger salute. Keith Moon throws wigs from the props department into the audience. And the offensive bits were edited out when the show aired the following night. So, yeah. Oh, Keith Moon. I love Keith Moon. He's been my idol my whole life.
Can you imagine if you had a party with Keith and Ozzy there?
That guy was absolutely mentally insane.
He was.
He drove his car into a freaking pool.
I know.
At the Holiday Inn, he drove his car into the pool. A Rolls, nonetheless. And he did it because he wanted to wash it.
God, when you've got enough money to be incredibly dumb.
Yeah, get away with it. So, finally, 1978.
The members of Aerosmith bailed 30 fans out of jail after they were arrested for smoking weed during an Aerosmith concert at Fort Wayne Coliseum.
Right on, boys.
What a cool way to...
That is
you don't always have to advertise. You just do something that's going to roll. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what they did.
Oh, that is
because I knew about that one because I'd heard about that one.
Yeah.
And, you know, Aerosmith loved their fans.
Oh,
no
God.
doubt about it. If you ever seen Aerosmith on stage, man, they are just so with their fans.
They're playing in Vegas right now. They're doing a stint in Vegas now. And after the show, they don't stand on the stage and bow. They go out to all the tables and meet the people and shake their hands and thank them for coming. And I'm like... That's what rock and roll and that's what music's
and
about.
Sports is like that too. Joey Votto, who's a Canadian boy, by the way, plays for the Cincinnati Reds. And he's adored in Cincinnati. They love him there. He's a great ball player. He's out there the other day. He was injured. He was sitting in the stands with the fans, just going from
spot to spot.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
You know, I mean, he wasn't even wearing his own shirt. He was wearing another team's shirt. So he's just being a fan out there.
Yeah.
I think that it's important.
Need more of that.
It's important to relate with your audience and let them know, hey, I'm just a regular guy like you. And don't be putting yourself up on a pedestal like some people we know.
Your shit still stinks.
Your shit still stinks, you know. We're all here together. We're all human beings, and these people that have these giant egos.
Hey, we
in
all
our
just
industry,
get along.
it's terrible. You know what I mean? Like everybody has an ego. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, sure.
You have to have an ego to get through life, but you don't take yourself to that next level where you think you're better than anybody else, because you're not.
Well, I am, because I'm going to eat the last one.
I know. Yeah. See, I've been eyeing that. We're brought to you, by the way, by Joe's Tasty Treats, marshmallow bananas. Notice the empty packet, because we've eaten them all. And
I'm legit. I had low blood sugar, so I'm okay.
How are we doing for time? Have we got a few minutes to talk about the radio, or how are we doing for time?
27.
27. So we got lots of time to talk. As we mentioned, we are online radio, and we're rustic radio from the backwoods of Canada, and we support Canadian tourism. 2 national radio stations, Radio GTA, our freeform rock station.
FM108.ca. Or
if you love the 50s, 60s, and 70s,
oh yeah,
we don't play anything past 1979. 24/7. We have wonderful shows on the weekend. We have Rich
my
Appel.
Mom's favorite station.
Yeah, your mom.
My mom loves FM108.ca. She played it all when it was a terrestrial radio station.
Yes. Back
in the day, it's Mom had it on in the house all the time in the car. It was always on.
I worked at FM 108 with Norman B for 11 years, and I was in my 20s programming music from the 50s and 60s. So now people often say to me, yeah, wait a minute, I'm adding it up here. You're 62. How come you know who Frankie Lyman is? How come you know? Well, I programmed that music for 11 years, and I was on the radio with it, so I learned. Because before I went to FM 108, I knew a little bit about the oldies, but I always loved them. But when you jump in to a place like that, you're in, and you're meeting people like Fats Domino and Jerry Lee Lewis and Chuck Berry and Roy Orbison. It's like, wow, man. Blow me away.
Yeah.
So that's how I got into being such an oldies
fan.
I'm known on the radio for playing rock and roll oldies, and that's basically. And I love the new music. I must admit, the new show we do, the Big 20 show, which is heard by several radio stations. One in Australia, a couple in England, one in Massachusetts. That we take 20 songs every week from all the genres, and I look at it as a 62-year-old ear. Not a 21-year-old ear. Would people my age enjoy this if they were open to it? So that's what we add 20 songs every week to our playlists on GTA and Halton Hills Online. And our Halton Hills Online is our other radio station, which is local, of course. in the Halton Hills area.
Where we're broadcasting from.
And yes, where we're broadcasting from, as a matter of fact.
Concept Leather.
Concept Leather.
As you can see.
And I just love the smell of leather, man. It's just...
we even have a leather tablecloth. This was a big cow.
That was a big cow. As a matter of fact, this chair makes a noise like a cow.
Yeah, well...
When you sit down on it, it sounds like you're farting, but you're not.
He says it's a chair, but, you know...
Well, no, it had to be, because it wasn't me.
Yeah. So, like I said at the top of the show, we are on location at Concept Leather in Acton, Ontario, Canada. You can check out Concept Leather on Facebook or conceptleather.ca. Always willing to accept around the world, you know, work that needs to be done, and you need the expert to do it. Check with Zena for sure. Because now they also do embroidery too. Yeah. So
we're going to have our Halton Hills and FM 108 hats. We're going to have them all in leather hats and with the embroidery. Can you imagine how cool that would look? Wow.
As long as it's not a ball gag, we're good.
What do you think I wear the hat for?
All right, we're brought to you by...
We're brought to you by the town of Churchill, Manitoba.
I just couldn't remember the name.
So. If you want to see the polar bears or experience a northern community...
You want to see the Great White North.
You're going to it. And you get flights out of Winnipeg. It takes you right up to Churchill. And you're in a beautiful bus.
And you have to jump out of a plane to get there.
We forgot to mention that part. But when you get on the bus, you're like that far away from the polar bears. And the polar bears, you got to remember, they're in their natural habitat. So they're rolling around and playing and play fighting. And
looking for blood.
Looking for blood. Yeah, you don't want to step out of the bus. No, you don't want to be stepping out of the bus.
Oh, look at the puppy.
But, you know, there's so many other things, whales as well, and so many things in Churchill that, you know, we like to take communities in Canada every week and highlight them, like we did with Saga Beach last week.
Yep. Yeah.
And you know, and the tourism areas of our country, and promote them, because they've had a hard time, the travel business, with COVID, just as much as any other, and more so because the travel business stopped.
It just stopped.
It just stopped, and we've got to get people coming to our country.
Except if you were a politician.
Yeah, of course. But
they seem to travel pretty good.
The travel business has really taken a major hoof to the nuts, so we're out to promote them.
Absolutely.
And you know, we've got some wonderful areas in Canada to talk about over the months to come. And next week we're going on, I won't tell you where we're going to be. We'll be in Saskatchewan next week promoting...
Saskatoon, eh?
Saskatoon.
Hey ladies, what's going on?
Do you know Saskatoon is the sunniest city in North America? Or no, hold on, Moose Jaw is. Yes. Moose Jaw or Saskatoon, one or the other. One of them is.
I believe you. Yeah. I truly believe you.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, folks. Yeah. And remember, we're in Halton Hills, Ontario, Canada, Canada's hometown around the world. And I'm Big Daddy.
I'm Lee Lakin, and for Leah Wood and Zena Pallister, the owner of Concept Leather. You can check them out at conceptleather.ca. And of course, Fox and Dana, the mascot birds, are here to join us. We want to thank you for joining us this week. And for all our Canadian viewers, have a great Thanksgiving weekend. Enjoy it with your families. And yeah, catch us next week. We'll catch everybody on the B-side.
That's right. Have a good one. Oh, I'm supposed to do this, aren't I? There you go.
Loosey-goosey chime time.
See what happens when my mind starts wandering?
Or when you're stoned?
Yeah, something like that.